needed to make this video to discuss a few different topics. Today was quite stressful, to say the least. Somewhere in the middle of class, I felt like I was just not able to concentrate because it felt like somebody was shooting me with an electronic device. And I sort of started to get a headache, and I didn't know if it was because maybe it was something I ate, and really wasn't a headache necessarily, but it felt like, somebody was shooting, because they're shooting so many different electronic devices that it becomes impossible then to start being able to identify the circumstances of my own well-being. And then therefore, because the people that are doing this then make me look crazy and dysfunctional, and that is the purpose, because the less people that have anything to say that I was saying the truth or believe anything I had to say, the better it is to dump my body in a trash can. And whenever tragedy happens, God forbid that it ever happens anytime soon, and protect me. But when I'm trying to get an education and I'm inside a class where people are bringing up the most sensitive subjects about my personal life after being raped by a transgender, this individual had their genitals removed. Like, it's gruesome. I don't know what other words maybe in the vocabulary to use, but it's gruesome. And it's just a merry-go-round of a circus, how one individual who looks maybe in their 20s is just pestering the situation to, like, it's just a joyride as they become a fucking nurse or whatever the hell is going on. I don't even, maybe they're not even real, maybe they're just taking a simple CNA class and they're professional psychologists. I don't fucking know, but it's very dark and negative. And then you have the teacher that follows up with very intricate patterns to sort of, this is the same behavior that my father used to tell me. My father used to always tell me this, to be careful with people like that, because they're not in the interest of your own mind and your well-being. They're in their interest for whatever it is, it's something else they're going after. And be careful, they'll poison your mind. And I try to keep it as normal as I can, but it's very frustrating, because it's de-influencing me and very uninspiring for me to ever get into the medical field. And I understand the stress. Like, I spent 7 years going to a nursing home with next to no support to talk about what I was seeing, experiencing, other than saying my mom and dad are giving me a lot of shit and a lot of problems, and I really just wanted to go to my friends to sort of relieve the situation by going in and smoking weed and then experimenting with drugs, chasing girls, and just being young. And that really helped me tremendously, when I would go to Richard's house and play video games and talk to them, because there was some kind of support system, because my home was so broken. And I would do what my mother would say, and I had $175,000 at 14 years old, worried about whose hands were going to get into this money, honoring my father's last wishes of death. I had his clothes from the age of 14 years old. I was about 15, because when Frankie went to the Navy, I was about 15 years old. Already a few years going to a nursing home with his clothing that he was going to wear when he was going to be buried, like his death clothes. Every morning I'd wake up and put on my clothes. It was like a reminder when I went off to school, like, Dad may be dead next week. He'd call me 3 times a week, not knowing if this phone call was going to be a nurse telling me your dad's dead. My mom was being manipulated by her boyfriend, and I didn't get along with this guy at all. And it was just so many people were after my dad's money. This was all about Raymond Palomo. I'm his son. I know that my uncle knew him, but you're not his son. You're not his caretaker. You follow sort of in the footsteps of your father, right? You're your mother. You sort of honor them. Just you honor your mother and father like you. I think it says in the Bible that you're supposed to honor your father and mother like you do God, or vice versa. You honor God, honor my mother and father by God, or something like that. I can't remember the terms right now, but and it all ended up as a tragedy anyway. So I'm putting all this labor. I have somebody begging money from me. Okay, and it's heartbroken for somebody to take care of me, asking, $1.50, asking me for $3.50 for a bag of potato chips and a candy bar. And that was a highlight when we used to go. We'd get some chips and maybe a couple candy bars and just sit there and talk. That was the highlight of it. You got to have candy bars, or whatever. And it's so disconcerting because nobody gives a shit. Everybody's eating each other alive to see who gets the next paycheck, who gets the next Michael Jackson paycheck, political power. How can we contaminate this person and then put them where we want them, and then Michael Jackson emotions, and then I feel my purpose in life. I got the pig on stage. I mean, it's like fucking, and it's so depriving because there's nobody that's listening. There's no one that's really listening, and I'm not talking about listening to fucking music or whatever bullshit you think is a fucking party. I'm talking about listening to a person, and it's so tragic because there's no way out. How can somebody just show up? I got 2 fucking extra triplet brothers. Nobody tells me my brother's a twin when I get a transplant. I'm fucking throwing up and dying. I have one fucking sibling, stepsister, who's fucking fighting over money as I'm fucking watching the blood that's swiggling as a roller coaster into my fucking arteries and to my fucking port, into my fucking chest. And I'm fucking like in tears. I'm about to fucking die and you're fighting over fucking money in front of me. Both of them. And this shit happens to me. And everything that I'm doing, every place that I go, it's Sarah Cooper, she was an angel. Like, what the fuck? And it is so fucked up because they're just making up stories to make themselves feel better. I'm the hero. I dealt with more shit. I was the one. And it's sad because when I look at my mother, I see the pain and like the everything that she had gone through. Like her being slapped, her being abused and talked stupid like by Diana. Watching my mother talking to the lady next door and being charged at, being hit with the fucking belt. As I'm watching this little girl, my sister, who is severely disabled, being hit with a fucking belt and doesn't recognize, if you told her what is left or right, she couldn't tell you that. And my mother is not able, like, even when I'm like in class, I think to myself, wow, my mother wasn't even able to give her own daughter a shower, to bathe her daughter, that she cared. She may be next door. She doesn't, she's getting raped right next door. And the teacher's shitting on it with this fucking potential CNA student, or these nurse students, and not all the nurse students. I think some of them are humble, but there's a lot of psychology shit. The guy next to me looks like Frankie. The other guy, the half white, half black guy, he seems pretty steady. The Mexican girl next to me, but they're transgender, gay. They're always fighting for their own breed. You don't match up with me. You're still sexually oriented to something else, and that's, and so even when you try to keep the job to what the class to what it is, you can't, because they're just bringing up shit. Because one, like, this teacher that says something like, was like sort of making a mockery of my mother, like my mother was nothing more than a shitting machine, shitting out kids, not knowing left from right, because she was just a stupid little baby that just shitting out babies. And she goes like this, and she goes, there goes a baby. Like, God, fucking shit. A woman just gives birth, and this is what these transgenders don't understand this. Like, and I haven't seen any heterosexual females. This isn't about me, not even as in any kind of fucking way. And they're all so prejudicedly motivated. Transgender for the gays, for Kenneth Cooper for the he did the favor for the blacks, and like, it's so fucked up because no one has, very few, it has any rationalized common reasoning to, like, the common sense of who a real perpetrator, disgusting individual to do that type of behavior, what Kenneth did, should be sitting in fucking prison. That it was so discarding, and they want to feel sorry for him. Like, it's so fucked up. And I'm thinking all this when I'm on the bus and I'm in class and wherever. And I tried, dear Lord Jesus, help me get through this. I'm going through so much stress. You're shooting electronic devices. I can't even feel like I use my own brain because they fucking control it with fucking mechanisms and shit. That I could fucking develop cancer. Like, the Brady Chance calls me on the fucking phone and he goes, and like practicing immortality of my fucking death. Guys smoking cigarettes and I'm gonna fucking die in emphysema, and like what the fuck, and I try to ignore this shit, and I'm like, it's so disgusting because, you got a security guard downstairs, and they're shitting on it. They know what this is. I go downstairs and I see a police officer, a real police officer, but it's a transgender, and I go in there to get some food, right, some beans and stuff in the pantry. I get real fucking nervous, and it's just like an extra level now of authority, and it is very depressing, at least for that aspect. Like, I understand, like, when you walk into nursing homes, for those, I don't think everybody has a healthy belief in Jesus and God, or scared. I don't think a lot of them are scared properly. I am, and it just becomes, and it's when you go into those places, you're sort of walking in, kind of like into a cemetery, and you make very delightful to the circumstances. At least that's what you're supposed to do as a CNA, but that's part of the job. And I'm still, got other plans to take other classes, and don't know yet if I'm going to take a CNA travel trip or just stay in Dallas and do it like assignment and then go for a class. I don't know yet. I have to focus on just passing the class and see where I'll go from there. But I don't like it when people talk real bad about my mother, because she doesn't understand the horrors of what's happened to her in reality, because they use professional psychologists and what they're doing to what they did to my mother. Like, they paid off the fucking shit. Your life shouldn't have been this way. And it was for Michael Jackson. Like, my brother, like, my mother had to be a part of watching Frankie, including me, and understanding at least the majority I drew fucking the list of names and people and drawing maps of Frankie being raped. Like, that was 10 that I saved him from, like, 8 of those at least. Saved him. Like, I'm fucking beating on the fucking door, get the fuck out. I'm fucking chasing the guy in the fucking house. Like, I'm the guy that's gonna I'm the kid that if you fuck with me, I'm telling everybody. Like, that's the kid you gotta be worried about. Like, the kid that's fucking just stays quiet, yeah, that's what the perpetrator goes after. But it's so fucked up because I think more of what Frankie went through. Like, there's no fucking way that Frankie could have had any steady mind being raped by that number of men. Fucking masculine grown men. And Sarah Cooper knew about this. Ken Cooper knew about this. And Kenneth at the radio station was the lead motherfucker that was covering this shit up for the minute my fucking dad died. And before. And it's just, oh, he's Kenneth. He's protecting. We're going to change the story. Like, it's like a fucking murderer. Like, and so I'm thinking, well, you know, they send people, you know, for 20 or 30 years for murder, you know, and they spend their time and they get out and they have go get a real good job and have family and get a house, get to live in a house and all kinds of shit. They're not, you know, and they build their lives together and shit. It happens. There's people who did murder, spent 15 years in penitentiary, and they get out for whatever reason it was, but they kill somebody, but now it's back to a normal existence. And it's boggling because it's like I try to get the influence of Frankie. Like, how did Frankie? I mean, it's not how, like, what when you break a human being, a kid like that, and you have these people that are just Michael Jackson. I mean, it's so fucked up. It's like so fucked up because it's like, we gotta make sure this kid just doesn't unreveal Michael Jackson and shit. That's what the emotional platform of this is. Like they're doing to fucking me in this class and at many other places I'm going to. This little kid was being his ass ripped open by fucking guys that could, if I were to fight him now, could probably kick my ass because they were masculine. You know, and, you know, and it's just like, let's just how we can help Barack Obama. That's how we can just make this political, I mean, no fucks given. Just ripping his ass open as a kid. Like, I still remember, and I was thinking about this the other day, like last week. I remember Frankie walking home, and this is when he was like, man, he was like 10 years old, 11. This is like when he was like in 5th grade, you know, 6th grade, 4th grade. And he would walk home, and he would be in pain. He wouldn't be able to walk home. Like, we had to walk home so you could feel what the fuck was happening to you. In pain. You know, you walk in, and there's a crucifix on our entrance of the door and our back door. And, you know, even though, and I hope, you know, to my understanding, Frankie's okay. Frankie's built his life and moved on. And he's not in any mental nursing home or anything, unless they're fucking using electronic devices to fake his voice and all this other shit. But there's no way he could have ever had. I know this is the inner parts of my family, and these psychologists and these other people show up with all their money, steal every fucking thing, and then build a pattern to just ride the fucking red carpet all the way to excuses to go help whatever the fuck. I mean, let me tell you, you know, Ken Cooper, he went from a police officer to get a fucking raise to work as a fucking detective. And his perpetrator's living right next door. I mean, it's brought up to me how this feels sorry for Miguel. Like, let me tell you, like, many years ago, I was like 12 years ago, I, you know, got very depressed, slit my wrist, worst mistake, felt mistake the minute I did it. And there was a number of reasons to what that was, but it was the wrong reason. And I remember the guy that looked like George Bush that was there. And one of the things that he told me, this is how he starts to protect Miguel. And he tells me, he goes, he could have taken that if he had wanted to. And he's like telling me, he could have gotten you, because he was so big, ripped your ass open, and fucked you up if he had wanted to. And he would have done that to you, but he didn't, so feel sorry for him. You see, congratulate him. Because he's living in a 3-bedroom house for fucking 20 years because of that shit. And this is what George Bush looked like, or it looked like his relative or some shit was there. And this is like Colorado Springs. I'm like 30 years old after the murder attempt that had been placed on me. And this is after being kicked in the face and all this other shit. And, you know, although that I moved on from that, and I moved on from other situations. It just cycles. So everything that's going on, they're going to make sure that Frankie's in good hands, and they want to make sure that because they can collateral against my mother and me to then, okay, let's get away for Barack Obama and the rapes, and there's a profitable gain because it's all about who gets the It's not about the money necessarily. It's the profitable gains of exchanges, of shifts, of alliances, and the bad things that had happened, and who gets what, and who gets the comfortability, and just burn off the time, take your life away, until we get, and then you can't retract what the fuck happened. And I was there for the whole thing. For my mom, I was 10 times more there than Frankie was when it came to my sister, watching my mother's a lot of the abuse. But they went after my mother even then. My mother's 67 years old, and whoever bought her a house and did all this other shit, their money paid off real fucking good. This is what their money paid off for, and they did it on a team effort with the President of the United States being directly involved in this shit. You don't think that you just killed a little fucking kid, his entire childhood, and now you're having this shit behavior happening in the middle of fucking class to de-influence me when I'm supposed to be... I just got back from the nursing home, where one of the nursing homes my dad was at. It's just down the street from the college I was at, taking classes. When I get there, there's people running in, transgender female to males, in support of Kenneth Cooper, and then all these transgenders and shit acting fucking crazy, and then I'm fucking the movement of Michael Jackson. What the fuck he's been dead, and what the fuck? This isn't about this shit. One person tells me the people are going to give me the tour, because I asked, because I wanted to go there in a couple different nursing homes before my exam, to sort of get a little bit familiar, a little bit more comfortable, because I have the test to take, and so I think it'll help me a little bit on the exam test, and familiar with the different settings, because when I go to clinicals, it's a different building, it's a 2-story building, so I figured, get it, because they're all their long care facilities are a little bit different. Each one of them are a little bit different. They have different supplies, but you get a little bit familiarity, so I'd be more successful to pass the test. And this is happening. I walk in, I go over to Mr. Wong's, chicken and rice. I don't even, I go there, there's 10 people fucking start rushing in there when I'm in there. This is for Ken, this is for the gays, this is for Ken Kutzis. What the fuck, I'm getting some chicken fingers and some fucking rice, And it's so fucked up because the intention is to contaminate the sole individual, and that is me, of any truth that can be conveyed to help my mother and my brother and my immediate family to what's going on. Why is $175,000 missing, and you have a dead old man, and now all this is happening? Why does some total stranger want to fucking play psychology with me, with the efforts of they not only do they behave that this is just a business deal that I did with my father, and he was just a friend, or he was just a business fucking deal, but they turn this into, they don't understand the aspects of that this is my father. What the fuck? He went to my soccer games. He was going to my, he signed my report card. He did all this shit. Who the fuck do you think? They think he's just, and they recharacterize this person to make me think that's who he fucking was, including my mother. Oh, this is who your mother is, and this is what she did. No, your mother's just a little dumb bitch. We have her in her chicken hen. We're taking care of. We're just about love, and it's fucking dog shit. Fucking dog shit. Okay. And it's frustrating because it's homicidal. It feels homicidal behavior that is a very high level degree. That what these people are doing is you want to get rid of human life with the intention for entertainment and for a movement that's a fucking monster. That is so contaminating, disgusting, And it's just like, oh, we get to, like, you know, I did not have to do that to go to a nursing home. I didn't get paid for this. Let me tell you, my mother told me over the phone, or her sisters, right, identical triplets, told me I didn't have to give you shit, and which was the truth. I mean, if they really had wanted to, she really didn't have to. She could have been even more cynically and dark. She would have been in the perfect position to do. She didn't have to give me a penny. I got $7,000, something like $7,000, just about, a little less, a little more. You know, $7,500, $7,200, $6,800, around those numbers. And I bought a car. My mother, that's my dad's funeral money. Okay, this is what I get for 7 years. Do you know who owns that fucking car now? It's the fucking impound because the police officers fucking took the fucking car. What the fuck did I get? You just stole all my shit. Don't get mad. We're going to help Kenneth Cooper, his radio station, because we have another death and tragedy coming up. And Sarah Cooper just dealt with more dog shit than my mother. And she had to just play genius shit. But the thing is that as much as I go about my business, I can elaborate, I can draw you more maps, I can draw whatever it is, more evidence, but it doesn't matter because no one's listening and paying attention. They want to make up their own story when it's never being let go. And it's like, oh no, we'll just turn this against you again. We'll just turn this again. It's just psychology, like, you know, I'm fucking nearly digging in a trash can for fucking food in real life. I ain't even joking. I was watching people throw food on the fucking ground. I was like on the verge of nearly picking it up and trying to, like, I was so fucking scared and beat up and fucking controlled by the people tapping my phone and electronic devices, like petrified, with no one, not a single friend to talk to over the phone. Not one. Not a single one. And it's hard because the time is gone. And when I look at my mother, and you know, her twins were never a part of that. So then they use more cynically dark psychology to then apply what looks like to be my mother isn't my mother, and then you're just shitting on it again. You know, even though I care for my mother, you weren't a part of our immediate family. You weren't there for the daughter funeral. You weren't there watching her get beat up. You weren't there when Frankie was getting raped. That wasn't you. I know that you're the identical twin, but that was not you that was there. And it is fucked up because I know they went after Frankie after he moved out and went to the Navy, supposedly, and then left, to then warp the information. I mean, here I am in this class, and they're justifying their horrors as an entertainment and a leverage profitable gain for their personal gains, affecting me in the class when I'm trying to pay attention, and then like the class is not being properly taught, in my opinion. If I fail this class, I mean, they're doing it on purpose. They're doing this shit on purpose. And there's no one that listens. You know, people, you know, they're constantly putting DJ people with headphones on the bus, stalking me, you know, pester me on the fucking bus, you know, making this about how you know, I'm 43, almost 43 years old. I don't have any associations with that other than giving gifts and art crafts to various friends for the time and relationship that I spent with them. And I'm doing my best to choose a different career, and they're just putting me down for this shit. Like, they don't care, because if you look everywhere, there's problems in every circumstance. Every circumstance. Everyone has somebody that died. So they're digging into my father's fucking grave for his fucking money to tell me and my mother where the fuck is, you know, like to tell me where the fuck this money's gonna go, to then contaminate me. and they're very sophisticated in detail with the psychology behavior that they're doing. They're contaminating the whole fucking shit because I don't have the money. I don't have millions of dollars to get fucking attorneys and my own fucking psychologist to say you're not gonna do this shit again. You know, like there's gonna be some dignity and respect to Frankie having his ass ripped open and me being molested and raped as fucking well, and my mother watching her daughter get, and then thinking that, you know. And so when you contaminate somebody, especially like for that long and that's that harsh, like my mother, they know very dark, cynical. Like in the animal kingdom, mothers, they'll kill their own young. They kill like their own babies when shit gets really bad. You know, that's not even to say what didn't catch when I wasn't around. Maybe my mother got slapped and hit, or something happened with like Ivan's mother, and you know that I didn't see. My mother never said anything. Like it's boggling to me, my mother's strength for the desperation to have a normal life, and you don't understand. Like it's like a poor Mexican village woman, and you know this person is not trying to doesn't do drugs, doesn't drink. Is doing this for her kids, and you're just fucking killing your kids, and then you shit in her so you can do whatever you want, throw some babies, put the twins in there, mix shit up. This is about Kenneth again. This is about Sarah couldn't feel sorry because this one's not gonna die, and then I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna develop cancer. Like I'm gonna fucking go in a nursing home and they start doing this crazy shit. Like it's very nasty, this type of homicidal behavior, because I think that is sort of a homicidal behavior. Like, yeah, I can't wait till he dies, and we're going to clear out Michael Jackson and the music, and we're going to help the gays and transgenders, and we're going to make this story worthless life. And so it's a dark, conveying. It's nasty, very, very dark and nasty, this behavior. That's not what you're trying to do when you're trying to teach a CNA class. We'll learn when we get there. I've already, for those that already know that I've been in situations, and it's not easy. But, you know, when they're shooting me with electronic devices, you know, I'm like in the class and I'm trying to fucking listen. I can't even fucking listen. You know, like, and I'm like, what the fuck? They're shooting at me, like, because they're shooting so many fucked up electronic devices. And I don't know if they're like controlling my brain, or if I'm getting nervous because of some shit, because they're using various types of frequencies, and I just keep ignoring it, and that's not very good, because you need to watch. You know, any doctor will tell you the best person that can describe how your health is going to be your patient. But you know, it's boggling. You know, it's very sad. Not boggling is not even the right word. I mean, it's very sad, because there's nothing that I can do. Nothing that I can do about it. The injustice at the level of degree that all this money is being spent. You know, you just stole my who the fuck are you to tell me anything, motherfucker? My brother was getting his ass ripped open for you to fucking tell me who the fuck are you? You like, and I can't say anything. I have to take the abuse with this teacher or this so-called nursing student, whatever shit may say, you know, for, oh, this one is representing because this one thinks it's a girl for Madison. Oh, this one looks like Kenneth a little bit, so we're going to make Kenneth more masculine by projecting something on Hector. Like, it makes me think even more deeply about my biological father, who I was named after to honor his name, Hector. My mother gave me that name because it was him. Even though he was not in the picture, imagine what they did to him. How much suffering they probably did to this guy that you didn't catch on his job sites because of Michael Jackson, and because of it's because guess who was getting raped, and guess who threw the little kid away. Imagine what they did to him you didn't see, if you're doing this shit to my mother. Oh, he's a guy, he can handle it. Yeah, it's just, you know, President Barack Obama again. You know, I have to deal with, you know, I think of my girlfriend, Ginger. You know, she apparently had cancer and died. And, you know, I don't know if she was in a long-term care facility, uh, but it's very difficult, because this shouldn't be happening, and it's done out of hatred. You know, it didn't feel like a legitimate class, but I go along with everything. I don't like, you're a transgender. You do not fully understand what it is to be a female. I don't discriminate by saying that's how you choose to feel and live about your life. Okay? That is understood on my behalf. But you do not understand what a real female and the experiences of everything that goes on, and then start trying to teach me what the fuck, because you feel ownership over my life and sexuality of being a straight guy wanting to screw natural sexual women because I got raped by a transgender who committed suicide, and now feeling sorry for her when nobody was doing anything like this. After spending $500,000 on a transplant, like, nobody gave me job. I mean, they were all swarming me then at that time, but it was not to the level of degree that I understood what the fuck was going on. But also wanted to talk about, I guess I have to make another video, but it's very tormenting because they tell my mother to do a lot of dark shit. My mother's twins, and they're full, like Julian and his twin and Marco and his twin. They're gay, and they're all fucking pride gay shit, and I know that's gonna affect Frankie, and they're gonna go all faggot shit, and then scummy, and it's because of this motherfucking Barack Obama and the transgender movement and this homosexual shit. And there's nothing that I can do about it. I mean, it's so fucking fucked up. It's so fucking fucked up. Like it's they beat the electronic devices as they're listening to me, to talking and watching my behavior to then rearrange the story to what they want it to be. My father didn't spend an entire lifetime going through what he did for somebody to steal all his shit and then turn it against me and then turn it against my mother and then get my mother to go along with your poison and then do this in a fucking class and everywhere else I fucking go, because Kenneth, he did the favors for the blacks, and he's Barack Obama, and transgender, and I feel sorry for transgender. Oh, transgender Kenneth, he's just like, deformed my sister, like my sister, he was in his little box, in the radio station, like my sister was on stage, on her little box, she's a princess. I mean, it's so fucked up. Miguel had a fucking dog by the name of Princess, and they would walk their dog in front of our house. My mother can't even touch, not let alone if she didn't want to. She wasn't allowed to. Her own daughter shuffles a dead little girl away. I don't know her name. Let's see how we're going to help Madison, because Madison is a straight woman, real female. She's pretty. Oh no, it's transgender right over here. Psychology. Let's do this right here, and mix everything. Yeah, and then burn off your life. Yeah, it's just confused. Like, no. Like, and so I always have to be like positive. Like, try to think. It's like fucked up. Like, somebody just coming and stealing all your shit. All your money, your and claiming God or claiming whatever shit, and it's in team efforts. And it's horrendous because there's no justice. My mother has no idea how petrifying, disgusting the Cooper family was toward my immediate family, how nasty they were. And they're living comfortable, they're representing them, they're lying and rearranging the story. That was not what fucking happened. and then they use professional psychologists to determine, oh, this is really what your behavior was, and this is really what happened, and then let me give wisdom of my experience and age to say really what bullshit. And I can't say anything. I have to go with a fucking lie, and this is my fucking life. This is my father's life. This is my dead sister. It's your fucking profitable gain, so you could just enjoy a fucking circus ride to help fucking whoever the fuck it is, and Patricia Cadena. What the fuck? This doesn't make any sense. So I think it's important to at least make this video to address this situation, because my mother has no idea. Like, she has to start practicing the mortality that she did to her own daughter, and the suffering that my mother went through before even moving into that house is so great that she starts doing it to me. She's been trained to do that, and then she does it. Oh, it's just because of it's psychology. It's because we're gonna use that credit for Barack Obama and throw the little girl in the casket when it's time, because she didn't get a proper burial. I'm her brother. Michaela is her sister. Frankie is her brother. Julian is her brother. We were there. We lived in the house. It's detrimenting to anybody's mind. It's dynamic almost, like evil, like the devil, like that goes into these transgenders and this type of behavior, claiming it's love. This is not love. You don't understand that. A real woman's love is so profoundly understanding, greater than any. But you can't say, because guess what? Transgender Barack Obama's daughter is just transgender again. It's just and they start killing people. It's just like, fuck you, like, and you're that person. Your father, your whole life didn't give a fuck. And there's nothing that you can do about it. And you get directed to Jesus Christ and go, oh, it's just because and you just start killing. Like, it's just fucking decimating. There's no rational reasoning to this. It's just keep going and shitting on it. And this is how the existence of life is. There is no accommodations to the comfort that should be in a normal family. Like, many of these people that live on these houses, have their own families. A lot of mothers will do this to their own children when they're trying to survive. My mother has no education. They have to go after Frankie, 1,000%, because you'll contaminate, turn everything, redirect it, change the story, and then we got away with it. It's so good because you got my mother in this, you got her in a stupid end. Just do whatever we want to stupid ass. I'm not saying that because I'm saying that because that's the behavior of what they're fucking doing. That's what you're doing. And, it's a very heartbreaking, you really see the flourishing evil just come out of these transgenders and some of these gays that, they don't give a fuck. Oh, let's make Ken Cooper a fucking you understand. No, you didn't do anything. And so I'm having to do this. I don't want it to. I try to create peace because all the model ships I built was dedicated to them, to create peace, think of Jesus and God to help influence whoever's doing the separation, whoever's doing this, kind of give a story to beautiful artwork. I mean, even when I gave those ships to my mother, they were like, put it on the fucking ground, and they were just like there weren't masterpieces, and they're fucking masterpieces that I fucking built, intensively building. And my mother didn't even appreciate them, and my mother is 67 years old. That story has come to an end. That story has definitely come to an end. Of really sort of rescuing or saving any of this, preservatives or this dignity. They just did whatever the fuck they want because you had twins that showed up into the picture. Like, it's so fucked up because they just fucking kill you. They don't give a fuck. It's so decimating, and it's for the president. it's so racially fixated on that. Like, you're punishing me. You know, you can't do this to, especially to a woman, to a mother that gone through that type of shit. She'll drop the fucking poison. She'll put the poison in my food. You know, to survive, for her own survival, and that's exactly what they want. You to redirect the hatred toward your own family members, and you know, the time has really gone to really sort of fix any of it. It's just kind of a recovery. It's sort of like a body recovery. You know, you're doing a body recovery to whatever it is. And when I keep looking forward for the day that, to my understanding, there's things that I would have never had to do and would have done different, but I had no choice because of the circumstances of the president. You know, having to ask, you know, Mr. Carrera to do a ceremony, if there's ever a ceremony on behalf of this dead little girl. You know, having to think about how they're going to exchange the ceremony if it ever happens, like a proper burial for this little girl who was my sister. You know, how that's going to profitable gain for the president, Barack Obama, and his transgender movement against me, and everything that goes on to what everyone else is attacking me for, and especially Kenneth, and now somebody else is going to die, and then we get the little, oh, you were waiting for me in the spirit world bullshit. You know, like, my mother doesn't even get to take a shower, to give this little girl a shower. My mother doesn't even get to do that. That probably would have helped my mother tremendously, I think, to say that at least she got to, you know, give her little daughter a bath after watching her get slapped around and hit with a belt. You know, and just, you can't do anything about it. I watched my mom come home from an 8-hour to 9-hour shift, beating her hands from working so that she could put her head down when she was walking, when that neighbor lady would walk down the street with her daughter. She would put her head down, and that lady would look at my mother like, look at you. You're just shitting, using your pussy hole, not knowing who's going to get you pregnant. This is a transgender. Not everything's monstrous, but that was happening. Okay, now, how are you going to represent Kenneth and Madison and all these other motherfuckers? Because it was joyride. Yeah, because when their dad died, he was a millionaire. You didn't take any of that shit, did you? And, you know, it's very heartbreaking, because I know they went after Frankie. You fucking killed, you murdered Frankie's childhood horrifically. And here I am, like, you know, like, I had to do what I had to do, and I don't think I could have done so much more of a better job because of the circumstances with everything that was going on in our house. And when I say everything, that, you know, the dysfunctions, you know, not having to watch over my dad, and Frankie, you know, having his own relationship with my mother, and having, you know, because there's no way you can have and I'm not saying this because I'm trying to get a profitable gain from this leveraging of whatever it is that, you know, everyone's going to think. You're a kid, and this is happening. You can put up a great fight, but you can't, because of the adults are doing this to you. They're going to contaminate you in every fucking way that you can imagine to train you about what's happened to you. Now, I understand this happens to a lot. I don't know very many people that have been raped by 10 homosexual fucking men, and making this about the gay movement, about, you know, Kenneth, feel sorry for this motherfucker, and then Sarah, and then feel sorry for this one. And no, let's just, you know, feel sorry for this, and then we're all gonna fucking die. You know, it's like, it's very sad. And as much as I try to move forward and not, you know, move away from the past and just move forward, it becomes very difficult, because it's just, you know, DJ headphones, it's record deal. What the fuck are you talking about? You know, I'm going to school. I'm 42 years old. I'm a prior cancer patient. They don't care. This is President Barack Obama. President Barack Obama. This is like President Barack. If you thought you've met bad people in your life that disregard a human life, those motherfuckers are Nazi fucking individuals that just kill people for joy and give reasoning and masterminds of fucking words that are magical, filled with dog shit, to get away just for their own survival. And you know, it's horrific. You know, it was, you know, my father's tombstone doesn't even say he's a World War II veteran, but when he's buried about 50 yards away from his brother that raped me and my brother, his tombstone says he was in the military. His tombstone actually looks nicer built than the one my father has. And I'm not even joking. Like, it says that. My father, I mean, just, like, you know, and it just, I don't believe that this is honorable. And, you know, no matter how many complaints I do, no matter how much they're just shitting on it. They don't care. This is at such a high level of degree that it's just not like you're just shitting a little bit or just like medium shitting. No, it's you're grabbing the carcass of my dead sister, and it's like visions of like these vultures that are just flying around. They land on this dead body and just start picking at his eyes and his rib cage and ripping out flesh, and then just and just my dead sister. And it's like, oh, we're just love. Hey, how you doing, love? It's just love right there. Oh, yeah, love. Love, Barack. Yeah, transgender love. We're all about love here. Yeah, and then the Bible. Yeah, Bible. Yeah, you know, like brand new house, extreme dreaming. Oh, yeah, no. Hey, this is what's going on. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know, we all drive by cemeteries and you see the faces of people. Their faces on their tombstones. Some of them look so young, 25, 30. A lot of them are older, you know. But many, you easily just look over, you'll see 25-year-old, you see a 30-year-old, you see an early 20-year-old individual dead. And it's hard not to think that they're going to do that to me. Just shit. I don't care. This is popular. Michael Jackson, this is how we do for Dr. Dre, saying this is how hip hop works. You know, or this is we do quality whites. You over here, like, what the fuck? And it's bad. It's bad. And you know, I'm trying to go to school and learn. You know, and I get I'm trying to, like, I gotta get this, I gotta pass this test because I got other classes I gotta take, you know, and, you know, I'm picking up the phone, I call my dad's old nursing home, you know, maybe go out there at Carrollton to take a look tour, but I'm gonna go to some nursing homes sometime this week, probably more than just the one I'm gonna go down the street from the college campus I'm going at, to just, you know, I'm going there so that I can hopefully do a little bit better on the test, exam, get a little bit more fitting, adjustments, a little bit just experience, you know, it'll help me a little bit more comfortable, hopefully. It should. It's a good thing that I'm doing. I'm doing something good for more education. Right after spending 4 hours in class, I'm going here and go to this, and I get frustrated because I feel like I'm being thrown out. I call the other one, and they just hang up the phone on me, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know, I think I'll go to the library, you know, going to get maybe at least an hour or two more studying after class. So I spend like a 6-7 hour day class and just efforts to make this class more educational, even after class. And I can't even do that because I'm like, oh man, my brain feels foggy and shit. You know, it's just shooting electronic devices again at me or some shit. You know, like, you know, I'm aware. You know, there's loads of people. When I walk into that nursing home, there's a lot of people there with families. There's a lot of people there that all have their stories, you know, and they don't get included in a lot of shit. I'm sure a lot of them had a lot of shit stolen from them too. You know, their houses, their cars, and their bank accounts by family members. Without a doubt, there's people in there in all nursing homes, or family members that did that to them and continue to do that to them. But one thing was pretty well, not pretty, but one thing that was very kind of earth shaking to me is I walked by I was on the bus the last probably 3 days, and the guy that I saw that had a cancer on his nose and had his nose removed, like I could see the dry blood and like the cancer, and he had his mask on, but you could still see like it was like just flesh just rotting in his face. He has a mask on, and he was panhandling for money. I don't know what it said, but he's like 67 years old, and he has a little sign, and he was out there in the middle of the street in 100-degree weather. This guy has cancer. And I'm driving on the bus and thinking, like, damn, this world is a really bad place. This world is a really bad place. Very bad. You have, just take a look at that, what's going on, and take a look how much these cars cost. This is a $45,000 Mercedes, $25,000, semi-be used Lexus, $60,000 Suburban. Look at all these brand new cars that are driving, and you have that's happening. Because you're just all about love and just sending Michael Jackson emotion, justification. Let's see who got the better life. Now I got problems too. Fuck your problems. Think about my problems more. And I'm having all this shit that's going on, and I'm just trying to ignore it. I'm going to be making, at best, if I get lucky, $20 an hour. And it's probably going to be anywhere from $17 to $20 an hour. I was making $20 an hour when I was working at the ski resort a couple of years ago. I think it's now almost been about 2.5 years ago. I was at the ski resort in Colorado on Crescent Butte. I was making $20 an hour there on my feet. And this is not even, as I began to tell you this whole story of everything that's going on, remember this. My back's hurting because of the electronic devices. It hurts. My knee, my left knee, every time I squat, feels like it's like gonna break. Like it fucking hurts like hell. Like it fucking hurts really bad. And like sometimes when I'm walking out, it hurts. I have not done anything. I know my limbs. Somebody shooting an electronic device damaged the fucking limb really fucking bad. And I have, I don't have that type of knee dysfunction. Like, you squat and how the ball points of the kneecap and how they bend. I played soccer for a very long time. And someone shooting me, crippling me. And my back fucking hurts, and they're shooting electronic devices at me and shit. Why all this is going on when I'm telling you, like 10 times even more. And anyway, so I thought I'd share this discussion about CNA school, personal family, and my thoughts from today, and so far that's kind of going on. So, it was pretty heavy day today. Came into my room, and the first thing I did is just say thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Even if it was a bad day, thank you, Jesus, because you allowed me to live today. Just thank you, Jesus. Thank you. I got to live today. Thank you, Jesus. Nothing more. It was a hard day today, but just say thank you. There's things that I wasn't able to notice because I'm trying to survive it myself, but just to say thank you, even for the bad shit. When I don't want the bad shit, because I know Jesus and God wants good things to happen. And I hope there's, only as time passes by, it's only going to get worse. My mother's getting older, and everyone's just, who's going to survive better. They did so much harm. This was so green. You know, like, there was no royal carpet for me, Frankie, you know, how they discarded my mother. And now just having her like spit in my face and say some of the most disgusting things that she would have never said. I knew her behavior and all these other things. And this is all a profitable gain for the president, for Barack Obama. I knew what my mother used to say, like what my father would have liked. Like, this is deeper than you can even think, how I'm being sold for sex with a black girl. You think my mother wanted that to her sweet 16-year-old boy? Oh, it's just not about races, but it is now when it's about music and hip hop. Oh, it's just keynote night. Oh, it's just not about that when you need help. Oh, it's just not. No, that's what you did. Because she doesn't know about the teachers and people that were attacking me when I was just a kid, or the sergeants when I was at boot camp, pawning me off for a profitable gain. Oh, just problems everywhere, just problems everywhere. You don't give a shit. I know what my mother would have thought of that situation. I know my mother, but I'm not trying to play racist, you know, either. But that's what that's what the political powers become. Now look, they're shooting me on my toenail, but it's very bad. Oh, Michael Jackson. Oh, you gotta throw in a black in there and mix shit up. You know, like, oh no, it's for the whites. You know, it's just like, you know, mutilating my mother's like sweet boy. Like, I'm the only straight boy that she has, and you killed me. You know, devour me. You know, just fuck it. You know, just brand new car right there. And just we're all gonna get together and just, you know, get a proper funeral over there and just dead emotions right there, so that we can just exchange it right over there. I don't think that's healthy. I think you know, when dealing with sort of this casualty of my own sibling and sister, that's very hard, because it's a little girl that was like thrown away. Like, I understand that Ivan walked her. He did what he was supposed to do, but there was a lot of dark ass shit like that immediately affects me. And, you know, this is who's going to get the profitable gain. And I remember Frankie being, you know, all the stories, but nobody cares about the details. It's just, okay, this money here, this money here, and this kind of equity here, and this, yeah, and then we'll just change the story here, and Michael Jackson emotion again. Oh, it's just DJ time again. It's just, you know, you don't get to go to school. You don't get to go to school, whatever, you know, it's just, we're going to, no, it's just that. Like, I don't know what happened to Ginger's life afterwards. You know, my ex-girlfriend. You know, what she was, you know, what she had to go through, what she had to be put up to. Those motherfuckers were following us in the fucking movie theater, and they were fucking, you know. And I'm 25 fucking years old, you know. There's always, the relationships are always hard, you know, it's just, there were fucking rapists everywhere. You couldn't do anything about it. They were preventing and doing anything contaminating the young, and then they don't give a fuck. You know, shooting me with electronic devices. So that's the discussion for today. Hopefully tomorrow and the rest of this time here at the school will be much more pleasant. Most of all, completing successfully with passing the class. So you see, I'm going bald and losing my hair.